Archaeology has the unique capability of stretching back to the remotest eras of our planet's existence and drawing the unknown out of the darkness of time. It can be fascinating, fun, and even adventurous, teaching and reminding mankind of our origins, like 3,000-year-old carvings along a vast ancient network of canals to what could possibly be the first depiction of Jesus Christ by someone who lived during his time. Today we look at 15 most recent archaeological discoveries. Number 15. Jordan Led Codices. In 2007, Jennifer Solognac and David Elkington came across a newly discovered set of codices, which are early man's version of books. They were surprised in one particular way: they were made entirely of impure lead pages. Allegedly found in a cave 100 miles from where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered by a local Bedouin, they have been passed down through the generations and are now owned by a Bedouin trucker, Hassan Zaida, who inherited the treasure from his great-grandfather. The set of codices were hidden away in the same manner as the Dead Sea Scrolls, in small niches in the cave walls. At the time of the discovery, the media labeled it more important than the Dead Sea Scrolls. Researchers immediately tested the lead, which confirmed the codices to be 2,000 years old, placing its origins at the time of Jesus Christ. The challenging task of trying to open each of the lead books began. After being closed for millennia, the pages of the books were fragile and difficult to separate. Some are the size of a palm and most contain only 8 or 9 pages. One of the most remarkable has a faint image of a bearded man with a halo, making it possibly the first portrait of Jesus Christ ever by a man. Other pages have illustrations of palm trees and menorahs, the script of Paleo-Hebrew, a language that dates back 1,000 years before Christ, as well as Aramaic, the language used during Christ's time. Some pages are intentionally shut closed as the writer does not want anyone to open them. Believed to contain the forbidden name of God and images of the furniture used in his temple, they are only to be seen by his initiates. Most of the script has yet to be deciphered. The books have since become controversial as to whether they are real or forgery. Though the lead used has been dated back to 2,000 years to the time of the Romans, the researchers of the Judean Archaeological Department and Israeli Antiquities Authority have backpedaled and now believe them to be a work of forgery, and the lead having been reused in modern times. Several professors agree, citing the fact that many of the inscriptions have yet to be deciphered. The owner Hassan and independent researchers fully believe they are original, adding to his credibility as the Dead Sea Scrolls and Book of Revelations, which speak of a metal book with a portrait of the Holy One on its cover. Hassan has allowed many laboratories to test the codices, with some decoding the script and evidence pointing to it being written by a Jewish sect closely linked to early Christians. The purpose of the book was never to be opened or discovered. Some believe there is a campaign to suppress these artifacts. And now for number 14. But first, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the thumbs up. We release videos every week. Number 14. The Tomb of the Silver Hands. 150 years ago, in the town of Vulci, some 75 miles northwest of Rome, was a popular stop for travelers taking in the sights of Europe. They would tour the numerous burial sites ranging from simple to spectacular which had been found in the area. The richly decorated burial sites belonging to the Etruscan people who had once inhabited the area. Despite their popularity, sometime in the 19th century they were abandoned and forgotten about, until archaeologist Carlo Cassi went looking for them. As is often the case with archaeology, although they began looking for one thing, the team made an original discovery and uncovered 20 small graves and 2 large funeral complexes with spectacular contents in. Dated to the 7th century BC, the most intriguing was the Tomb of the Silver Hands. With many chambers, this tomb clearly belonged to a rich and noble Etruscan family. Filled with artifacts, pottery made from shiny black material, chariots, and large storage jars, the most intriguing was 2 hands made from silver with traces of gold on the fingers and gold-plated fingernails. Whilst it would be cool to believe that this was the first prosthetic, it is actually a funerary dummy that guards the dead soul after the body is cremated. Belonging to a woman, it proves the Etruscan people granted equal status to high-ranking members regardless of gender. Number 13. The Giants' Graves. The Tomb of Giants, so called because of their gigantic dimensions, can be seen throughout modern-day Sardinia. Built by the Bronze Age Nuragic civilization, a group of people who lived around the 1800 BC, they were deeply religious and existed for more than 1,000 years. perhaps led by priests and other religious authorities consisting of various cults dedicated to different deities, a single neuralgic group inhabited the island of Sardinia during the 1st millennium BC. There are around 800 tombs, often constructed in the shape of a uterus of a woman in labor, which describes life and death. They are made from granite with a hole cut into it as the entrance and walls that extend from the door to form the grave corridor. Despite the name, the sites were not the burial site for any giants. The graves offer us more questions than answers, as little is known about the rituals, purpose, or beliefs that motivated their construction. Were they mass graves? Were they built to help souls cross over to the afterlife? Many people believe that the positive energy infuses the air around the giant's tomb and even provides spiritual rejuvenation. Number 12. Medieval Horde. An archaeologist recently discovered a large treasure of gold coins in Poland. While attempting to learn of another hoard, Adam Kadzierski had decided to document a 1935 hoard of gold coins once found in Poland for his new book. While interviewing people of the small town, a local priest shared a bit of gossip about the possible location of another hoard. With the help of a metal detector, the archaeologist located the suspected hoard in a cornfield. Once he realized he uncovered an immense hoard, he called in the local firefighters to guard the site. In total, he found 6,600 pieces of gold rings, silver ingots, and thousands of silver coins, dated back to the 11th and 12th century by the Czech, Danish, Hungarians, and Germans. The rarest of pieces were 4 gold wedding bands found safely in a linen pouch, with one of them with the inscription, "Lord, may you help your servant Maria," perhaps belonging to the Princess Maria, daughter of Vladimir the Great. It is extremely rare to find gold in Poland. The amount of gold discovered has caused researchers to rethink the significance of the small Polish town, as the hoard could be linked to the first ruling dynasty of Poland known as the Piast dynasty. Researchers will now try and establish the provenance of the gold items. Number 11. Ancient Goddess Statue. In Mexico City, a man named Cesar Cabrera decided to plow a stretch of his family farm where he wanted to plant watermelon when he noticed the edge of a mysterious block of limestone began peeking out from the dirt. With the help of 5 other men, and several weeks later, they hoisted out a life-size statue that had been buried for centuries. The accidental archaeologists made the country's biggest find of the year. The statue of a woman believed to be a goddess or possibly a queen from the Huastec culture is carved with elaborate ornaments and a flowing feather headdress. Very little is known about the Huastec culture, partly due to a lack of research and wide-scale looting of its naturalistic art in the 1900s by British naval officers, which is now showcased in the British Museum. The Huastec culture thrived for centuries before they were absorbed by the Aztecs in the 1500s. After the Spanish conquistador Herman Cortés and other Europeans arrived, they were labeled as drunkards and barbarians, mainly to justify subduing them. But their art and cultures tell a different story. This 500-year-old statue of a goddess will remind us that the Huastec culture celebrated women and its rich heritage must be safeguarded. Number 10. Royal Dye. What could be more valuable than gold 3,000 years ago? Israeli archaeologists have recently discovered the first ever fragments of a purple fabric dated to around 1000 BC. They made the find in the Timna Valley at a site known as Slaves Hill just south of Jerusalem. The cloth fabric containing purple dye dates back to the reign of the biblical kings King David and King Solomon. In antiquity, the purple was revered and associated only with nobility, priests, and royalty. It did not fade, it was very difficult in producing the dye, and only small quantities of its pigment were found in the glands of only 3 species of mollusks, all of which made it cost more than gold. The labor and the complex chemical process it took to create the color purple took several days, which made it an indicator of high social status. Purple is even mentioned in the Jewish and Christian Bibles and was worn by Jesus Christ, King Solomon, and King David. Once the team of archaeologists at the Tel Aviv University first noticed the fabric, they were immediately drawn to it, as it is the first time dye has ever been found in a piece of fabric that dates back to the reign of King David. Number 9. Rare French Portrait. Last year, a regional auction house in England sold a matchbox-sized painting of a man thought to be Sir Walter Raleigh, a prominent English adventurer and explorer. But that observation proved to be incorrect. An art dealer, Philip Mould, who hosts the TV show Fake or Fortune, bought the piece on auction. He quickly realized that the painting was not of Sir Walter Raleigh, but in fact a rare depiction of King Henry III, the controversial Valois King of France. King Henry III, who was known for cross-dressing, believed to have had both male and female lovers. Many 16th century historians document his fondness for wearing women's clothing and having most of his male court with long hair and curled with bonnets like women. During his reign, the political climate of the day was religious and dangerous, with many violent wars, and his desire of cross-dressing was used against him. Some believe his liking of women's clothing was a rumor started by his enemies to weaken his power, yet to this day historians continue to debate his sexuality. He was assassinated by a fanatical religious monk and almost lost to history after the French Revolution. Philip Mould bought the piece on auction without ever seeing it, and upon investigation discovered the signature of Jean de Cour, a famous painter for the French court, and a date 1578, which proved that the portrait was indeed King Henry III. Mould believes the work is a French national treasure of a misunderstood king of France, and intends on cashing in on his lucrative purchase by offering the miniature painting to the Louvre Museum, where it was most likely painted many centuries ago. Number 8. PreColumbian Settlements. It was widely believed that the Amazon rainforest remained untouched by humans throughout history, but that belief has been disproved. Archaeologists have recently discovered 81 settlements in the Amazon Tapajós Basin region that borders Brazil and Bolivia that date back to before Europeans invaded the area. The sites, which were discovered through satellite imagery, range in size from 100 feet wide to 47 acres. They prove that the area was inhabited by millions of people, with houses most likely circling a central square and mile-long roads connecting each enclosure to transport goods or for ritual purposes. Buried beneath the ground were stone tools, broken ceramics, and buried trash heaps and enriched soil called terra peta, which is created by the burning and adding of fertilizer, proof that ancient civilizations that lived there managed the land. The discovery proves that people who lived there were cultivating the land through a sustainable process and enriched the rainforest, which could teach us modern-day humans a thing or two about sustainable living. Number 7. The Tomb of Romulus. In Roman mythology, twin brothers Romulus and Remus were believed to have founded the city of Rome. The tale dates back to 750 BC. The twins were abandoned as babies and raised by a she-wolf. Eventually, the brothers grew up to be fearsome warriors until Romulus killed his twin brother Remus and founded the city. Archaeologists have found an empty sarcophagus in an underground ancient temple in Rome, believed to be the legendary founder Romulus, dating back to 600 BC. Scholars are unsurprised by finding an empty tomb, as the legend goes that when he died, his body returned to the heavens as the Roman god Uranus, or was torn to pieces by senators envious of his power. The tomb was located just a few feet from the Lapis Niger, a site believed to be the scene of his murder, and which holds a black stone slab warning people to stay away from the sacred site. It refers to the burial site as that of a holy king, and the oldest and most important king is Romulus. The discovery of the site is symbolic and represents a place of memory that the ancients celebrated the cult of Romulus and the birth of Rome. The team of archaeologists continue their investigations and expect the site to be open to the public in 2 years. Number 6. 13 sealed coffins. An unusual cache of at least 13 wooden coffins dating back 2,500 years has been discovered in the desert necropolis of Saqqara in Egypt. The find comes months after Egypt announced over 100 sarcophagi, which also dates back to 2,500 years ago. So what makes these 13 wooden coffins so special? They have remained intact for more than a millennia. They did not succumb to looting or be exposed to harsh weather, and are still completely sealed as the day the inhabitants were placed inside. Found in a burial shaft 40 feet underground and stacked on top of each other, the coffins are so well preserved that the colors painted on the wood are still intact. Their mummies wrapped in impressive burial shrouds emblazoned with hieroglyphs. Saqqara was a place where the ancients buried their dead for more than 3,000 years, and so is of great interest to archaeologists and researchers. Over 40 statues and funerary masks were also uncovered. Another 2 wooden statues that belonged to an ancient judge of the 6th dynasty was so well preserved that, according to Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the beauty of the statue is seen in the intricacy of its eyebrows, moustache, and eyelashes. It is absolutely beautiful and wonderful. The sarcophagi will be distributed among several museums in Egypt, including the yet-to-be-open Grand Egyptian Museum at the Giza Plateau. Number 5. Ancient Assyrian rock carvings. In 2012, archaeologists uncovered ancient rock carvings of an Assyrian king in Iraq, but had to hide them from militant groups in the area when war broke out. It is only now that archaeologists have revisited the site, which has revealed the carvings to be 3,000 years old. Luckily, they were well hidden. With only a small portion uncovered and many more still beneath the ground, the researchers have a lot of digging to do. The ancient carvings depict the Assyrian king paying homage to his gods amid a procession of mythical animals like dragons and horned lions. The Assyrian Empire ruled a huge region of the Middle East between 2500 BC and 600 BC. The empire stretched all the way from Egypt to the edge of Syria. The carvings once decorated the banks of the Fida Canal, which was part of a vast network of ancient canals that brought water to the Assyrian capital and irrigated the surrounding lands. The king who built the canal, Sargon II, is mentioned in the Bible as conquering the kingdom of Israel. We can only hope that the region remains stable for archaeologists to uncover the full extent of the site. Number 4. The Legendary Spinosaurus. The legendary Spinosaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period over 99 million years ago. The first fossilized evidence was discovered in Egypt in the 1910s, but was later destroyed in Munich Paleontology Museum when it was bombed in World War II. The Spinosaurus, at 50 feet long, 9 feet longer than the T-Rex, possessed a long head like a crocodile and a freaky sail jutting out its back. It has always been a mystery and little was known about its tail until recently. Paleontologists have uncovered fossils including a tailbone in the Kemkem region of the Moroccan Sahara. Using 3D modeling, researchers were able to piece together the find. The reason this find is so incredible is that it now suggests that the Spinosaurus had a tail that it used for swimming, allowing it to thrust in the water and using it as an oar. We now know the Spinosaurus was the first carnivorous swimming dinosaur and spent most of its life in the water pursuing prey. We can imagine the Spinosaurus navigating the rivers like a crocodile, but on a much bigger scale. Scientists are now returning to the desert to search for more bones. What will they uncover next? Number 3. The oldest footprints. 7 human footprints have been found fossilized at what was once an ancient lake in Saudi Arabia's Nufud Desert. The footprints date back 120,000 years, making them some of the oldest on Earth and give insights in the routes that early humans or Homo sapiens took out of Africa. Researchers think that these footprints were made on the muddy shoreline of a shallow freshwater lake by primitive hunter-gatherers who over generations followed herds of wild prey animals from the Sahara into Arabia. They found animal footprints such as horses, camels, and elephants. Though elephants were believed to have left this region some 300,000 years prior, the find has shed new light on the first humans to enter the Arabian Peninsula as weather on the planet became more stable, allowing humans to migrate. While no other evidence of tools or animal carcasses have been found, proving that our early ancestors were not in the region for long and were only passing through. After finding these footprints, researchers now believe that they most likely missed other evidence in other ancient lakes elsewhere in Arabia and will now go back and survey those sites again. Number 2. Amazon Rock Art. Whilst we now know that millions of people inhabited parts of the Amazon rainforest, researchers have recently found rock art dating back 12,600 years ago, towards the end of the last ice age. Hailed as the Sistine Chapel of the Ancients, these rock art images, a kind of ancient photo album, gives us a glimpse into the lives of our early humans. Thousands were found on the northern edge of the Colombian Amazon. The paintings include depictions of extinct Ice Age creatures such as the mastodon, a prehistoric relative of the elephant, giant sloths, and Ice Age horses. There are also paintings of geometric shapes, human figures, handprints, and hunting scenes. Early humans made the red paintings using pigments extracted from scraped ochre. Mark Robinson of the University of Exeter said that the images give a vivid and exciting glimpse into the lives of the earliest people to live in western Amazonia. He added that early humans moved into the region at a time of extreme climate change, which was leading to changes in vegetation and the makeup of the forest. The Amazon was still transforming into the tropical forest we recognize today. Number 1. Biblical Era Palace. A mysterious and magnificent ancient palace has recently been uncovered at Armon HaNetziv Promenade in Jerusalem. The stone artifacts date back to the first temple period between 960 BC and 586 BC. The elaborately carved columns and other relics are believed to have been neatly buried, although researchers don't know by whom and why. Researchers were able to accurately date the temple through its well-preserved stone carvings. They are made from soft limestone in the Proto-Aeolian architectural style. The ancient artistic motif is so symbolic of the Kingdom of Judea that the Bank of Israel chose its image to adorn the 5-shekel coin. Yaakov Bilik, director of the Israeli Antiquities Authority, thinks that the structure was likely built between the times of biblical kings Hezekiah and Josiah. Experts think that the rest of the building was destroyed around the time of the Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BC. Thanks for watching. Be sure to let us know in the comments which one was your favorite, and subscribe for more videos.